On the 143rd episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast, we're going to be talking about Kirk Cousins getting yet another unbelievable contract. We have some MLB updates and talking about how the new ABS system is working in baseball. The March Madness tournaments are coming to an end, and then we are going to wrap it up talking about the downfall of the Lakers and losing their two guards. Make sure you use code HatTrick Sports when checking out at w.gg for 10% off your order. Roll it! Welcome to HatTrick Sports, starring your host, Isaiah Carpenter. Bringing you the biggest sports headlines every week. This is the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Okay, welcome to the 143rd episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. It's going to be a pretty short episode. I first want to talk about the short-form content, not where it needs to be. Took about a week off, didn't do too much with HatTrick Sports. Obviously, not a lot of posts happening across social media and stuff, but we're going to change this. We're going to go back into this week, locked in. Again, try to get at least 2 short-form pieces of content out a day on TikTok, and then usually we have one on Instagram and YouTube, and then the podcast is still going to be out and all of that. It's going to be a short podcast, but life is pretty busy, and just got to get through this. And there will be more short form content and social media posts coming up here in the next week or so. But with that being said, let's start it off with one of the biggest with the biggest NFL news of the week. Kirk Cousins getting a 5-year, $172 million guaranteed contract from the Raiders. The Raiders, who are going to draft Heisman Mendoza here in a few weeks or a few months, whenever the draft is. They're going to pay Kirk Cousins $172 million of guaranteed money for probably not playing that much, if we're being completely honest. This is going to be Kirk Cousins' 11th season having a fully guaranteed contract, and my guess is that he's just going to mentor Mendoza. I think the Raiders are obviously going to get Fernando Mendoza here in the draft, but I don't get why you're paying Kirk Cousins $172 million. That's insane to me, but I guess he'll take it. Him and his agents are con artists. I don't know how they get away with it. Clint Kubiak, who was the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks when they won the Super Bowl, said that he would have liked a veteran on this Raiders team, and he got it. For Mendoza, again, I think Mendoza does kind of need to be taught a little bit. Kubiak went to talk about how Aaron Rodgers sat his first 3 seasons of his career, and maybe this is a blessing in disguise for Mendoza, and I don't get how the financial department of the Raiders is okay with this. That's a lot of guaranteed money, and you look at his stats. I'm going to look at his stats right here. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's played 174 games. His career record's 88, 72, and 2 with a 66.7 completion percentage. Almost 45,000 yards, 7.6 yards per attempt, almost 300 touchdowns in his career and 131 interceptions in his career. He's led the league in pass completion percentage. He's led the league in yards one year. He led the league in game-winning drives a couple of times. But game-winning drives isn't always a great stat for QB because that means you were down at some point. And then comebacks led by a quarterback. He led that one year. Is all of that worth $341 million in career earnings for Kirk Cousins? I don't know, but this seems like a ton of money for Kirk Cousins, and I don't know. It just seems it seems like a lot of money for a guy that's not going to produce a lot, and what I don't think the Raiders are going to produce a lot. I think that Kirk Cousins may start the first couple weeks, kind of show Mendoza around how the NFL works, and then it's going to be Mendoza's team. It's going to be his team after that. But good for Cousins. I mean, I'm not hating on him. I think that he's done somewhat well in his career. How deep has he gone? Yeah, he had his time in Minnesota. I think he did. He definitely had his career highs in Minnesota and stuff like that. But good for him. Good for him. If he can get away with $172 million, let him. Nobody's going to stop him, I guess, if the Raiders are willing to pay him. But it's still wild to me how he's going to be worth that. All right, that's enough for NFL news. I kind of miss NFL. More onto MLB news. We have some MLB games on here. We have the Dodger game, Dodgers Nationals up there. We have a little AL West matchup right here, Mariners and Angels, a little hockey, and then the women's March Madness bracket just finished. The tournament just finished. UCLA destroyed South Carolina in the national championship. And we're going to be talking about this Angels-Mariners series in a minute. But first, let's go over with something that has changed for every single team this year, and that is the ABS system, the automated ball strike system. That has changed a lot this season, and we're just a couple weeks in, so all of this is as of April 5th at around 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to go over all the stats, all the leaderboards, every statistic that you need to know about the ABS. Let's first go over overall season data. Overall season data so far this season, you have had a total of 470 ABS attempts. That means either the pitcher, the catcher, or the batter tapped their head. 470 times so far this season. Now, out of those 470 times a player taps their head, 258 of those calls were overturned, so in the challenger's favor. And that goes to a 55% overturned. So that means that there have been 258 calls, ball strike calls. Think about how many pitches that's a ton of pitches, have been overturned just 8 games into the season for each team, which is crazy to think about. But that's 258 calls that wouldn't have been overturned last year. That's almost an entire game. That's an entire game from both teams, just 8 games into the season, of calls that would have been wrong, which is crazy to me. And we see, right here. We see that batters have about a 50% overturn rate, which is good. Batters have 222 attempts. 112 of them have been overturned. Again, at the time of this recording, 110 of them have been confirmed. Defensively, you have pitchers who have only had 13 attempts. 6 have been overturned, 7 have been confirmed. Now, the confirmed hurts a little bit, just because you only get 2 challenges per game, per team. So, the 7 kind of hurts the team a little bit, because that means your batter or your catcher who have a higher overturn percentage, it's going to hurt them a little bit. But if you look at catchers who have more than batters and pitchers, they have had 248 total attempts so far within about 8 games this season. 146 of those calls have been overturned, meaning that they have a 59% overturn percentage, which is good. But it makes me think, why do catchers know the strike zone better than the umpire? The umpire's job, and I'm not going to say their only job, because they have jobs of calling balls and strikes. They have the fouls, swings, do they go? The base umps, they're base umps, infield fly. Like, they have a lot of stuff that they have to call. But why do catchers know the zone better than home plate umpires? That's their job, is to know a box. But catchers seem to know the box a lot better than the umpires. It confuses me, because I get it. Catchers have been catchers since they were 4 years old or whatever. And umpires, you kind of start getting into umpiring in your 20s maybe. I don't know when umpires start that career. But I would still think, like, umpires train to know a box, and catchers know the box better. And I guess it's a catcher's job too. Yeah, you got to know the placement of the ball and strikes and that. But I just thought that was kind of weird how catchers are better than umpires at calling balls and strikes. Just a little bit. Yeah, I can't wait to see how this ABS evolves, because we're just at the beginning. Again, I've heard this from a few different places, but I think I've heard this from a few different places, and they have a great argument of there should just be a beep in the umpire's ear. Hey, if it's a ball, no beep. Or use like a pitch comp for the umpires where it says ball and the umpire doesn't do anything. And if it says strike, you go strike. That doesn't seem that out of reach. You know what I mean? But with this ABS, it does take a little bit of time. Once somebody challenges it, it takes a couple of seconds for it to get on the video board, for it to track the entire pitch of the graphic to show. Then they got to talk in the mic. The call was overturned. I get it. It takes a few seconds. It probably takes a total of 10 seconds per challenge, when a pitch should only take about 2 seconds. But when we get that technology down quicker, and as soon as the ball touches the catcher's glove, you hear pop, the umpire hears ball, strike, ball, you add half a second to a pitch, which I guess half a second to a pitch and 250 pitches in a game, you're going to add 2 minutes to a game. Is that really that long compared to a 3-hour game? No. Like, nobody's going to complain about a half second. And I think that's where we're going in 10 years. I do think in 10 years, we're going to see that where there's going to be no judgmental calls. And I feel like there shouldn't be. Now, there's all these old heads that are like, ABS is ruining baseball, ABS this and that. No, like, you've been complaining for 70 years of your life that these umpires are horrible. And now that we have it fixed, you're complaining because of innovation and technology. Like, let's kind of see the innovation here. Let's see how this is benefiting baseball a lot more and benefiting a lot of players. One thing I did kind of hear about is there's going to be players with that have a 299 batting average, and they're going to be somewhat upset because they didn't have the ABS system where they could have been batting 300 or more and been part of the 300 club. But then you got to think about if you're batting 299 in your career and you're a Hall of Famer, you got to respect the game for having ABS. You have to. you want the young guys to succeed, don't you? I don't know. Unless you don't want to get forgotten about, but I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. But I'm, 1 second. Dusty May also spurns UNC Michigan coach rejects Tar Heels suitors as he prepares for title game versus. Just a little alert there. But I want to go over the teams and players who have the best successful challenges and success rate in ABS. So we're first going to start off with batter ABS challenge leaders. Mark Vientos for the Mets. He has successfully challenged 3 calls out of 3. 100% success rate. You also have guys, Machado's 2 for 2. You have Teoscar Hernandez 2 for 2. These are all batters. Gino Suarez 2 for 2. Pete Alonso 2 for 2. Trent Grisham 2 for 2. You have a lot of these guys that are at 100% accuracy. Kurtz Nick 2 for 2. So that's good to see. You love to see these guys not using it a whole bunch. Teoscar Hernandez has challenged 2 calls. They're both pretty bad, and I'm just gonna screenshot this real quick so I can use it for short term. Grisham's probably the last one I'll use. But yeah, you can't. These guys are good at looking. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out because I saw Alex Freeland for the Dodgers. There was a pitch low, and it was barely low. The umpire called it a strike. You could tell he was thinking about it. But as 9-hole, you're barely in that lineup, and if you make the wrong call, that's not going to help your case even more. In hindsight, he probably should have. They were down, I think, 5 at the time, and they had 2 challenges left. Now we're in the bottom of the 7th. The Dodgers are going to lose this game. It's just an away game, a travel day. A lot of the starters aren't playing. But Jack Dreyer, let's see what he does here. Fastball down the middle. I mean, how are you going to take a 91 mile-an-hour fastball down the middle? But yeah, those are just some batters that are good at challenging, being disciplined, but also having a good eye when challenging pitches. Now let's go on to the pitchers, which was a little bit of a different story. Like I said, there's only been 13 challenges as of right now from the pitchers. Freddie Peralta, Max Fried, who are some other guys? Jesus Luzardo. Those are all guys who have only challenged once and have had a successful challenge, so they're 1 for 1. Everybody else is either at 0% or has not challenged yet. Again, there's only been 13. I will say, and again, I'm just going to screenshot this real quick. Sorry for you guys listening. I will say that I think that relievers are going to have a lot less of a success rate just because, if you're in the bottom of the 9th inning, you're down by 2 runs, and there's a somewhat borderline call, and you're a pitcher, and you just want to, you got nothing to lose. It's 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. You don't get to keep that challenge for the next game or even that next inning if it goes to it. So I saw Edwin Diaz had a pretty bad challenge, one of his first appearances for the Dodgers, and I wasn't mad about it. It didn't affect the game that much, but they're going to use it because they're going to lose it. I mean, it's either you're going to lose it now or you're going to lose it in 5 minutes. What are the odds that I'm going to need 2 more challenges in the next 2 pitches? Like 0, pretty much. So I do think that closers and relievers will have a lower success rate. And it's not that they're less disciplined. It's just like there's not a need to hold on to those challenges. And it's all a mental game. ABS is very much a mental game for baseball. And then catchers. Catchers where it's really at. The catchers know the zone unlike anybody else on the field, even the umpire. Again, I'm going to take a second just to... So, JT Realmuto has challenged 3 calls, 3 balls, and he was successful all 3 times. All 3 of them were strikes. So, he has a 100% success rate. Same thing with Dylan Dinger for the Tigers. Arguably top 3 name in the entire league. Love it. Dylan Dinger as a catcher. Dingler. Gary Sanchez is also at that 100% success rate. Adley Rutschman. Yeah, you got guys like Austin Wells who are 5 for 6. You can't complain about that. James McCann, 4 for 5. William Contreras, 4 for 5. You can't complain about that. But the guys that are pretty consistent, you look at Will Smith. He has 11 challenges. He's only been successful 8 times. But he has more... Oh, except for Logan. Yeah, he has pretty much the most successful challenges, but he's challenged the most, which I'm not mad about. I think catchers should be able to challenge the most, and catchers shouldn't be hesitant. Again, like I said, the 9 hole is going to be hesitant about challenging pitches because they're barely in the lineup. They're trying to stay in the lineup. But the catcher, like, don't be hesitant. I would rather you see and miss than take away because you're right there when the ball comes in at you. So that's just a little ABS update for you. Do I have any more? Oh, and then as a team, total rankings, the Diamondbacks are the best. Because the Diamondbacks have challenged, they've challenged 8 total pitches. Oh, sorry, I take that back. The Diamondbacks' total success rate is 75%, and that's batter and catcher. Who else is up there? Who's the number 2 right here? The Tigers have a 73.3% success rate, which is good. Who has the worst? Who has the worst success rate so far as of April 5th of ABS? Right here, the Cleveland Guardians, they are 30th. They are at a 15.4% success rate. That is absolutely atrocious. 12.5 as a batter and 20 as a catcher. Percent. We're talking about percents here. I want to see... all right. And then as an umpire, who is... who has the lowest overturn rate as an umpire? I don't know how to pronounce these umpires' names, but you gotta give them props. One of the guys who has the most pitches called, 632, has had 5 pitches challenged, 0 of them overturned. Eric Bacchus, I don't know if that's how you say his name, but incredible. Give it up for the man. Quinn Wilcott, he has had 609 pitches called. 2 have been challenged, and then 0 have been overturned. So you got to give it up for Quinn Wilcott. Just take a screenshot right here. And then James Hoy. James Hoy has had 291 pitches called. 1 of them have been challenged, and it was not overturned. So give it up for them. If you are making those types of calls, it's unbelievable. Now, that's not saying that they are the perfect umpire. You still see umpire scorecards. They still miss some calls, and the batter doesn't want to challenge, or the catcher doesn't want to challenge. That's still going to happen, but you got to give it up. I mean, that means the close calls, they are getting right. Let's move on to my favorite headline of the week. Jo Adell robs 3 home runs in 1 game. We're gonna watch it here live on the podcast because this is unbelievable. You don't understand how great this was. Let me pull it up here. Give me just a minute. Jo Adell, man, unbelievable. 3 home run robberies in 1 game. But to put that in perspective, last year, the best player at home run robberies, he had 4 home run robberies, Fernando Tatis Jr. Jo Adell did this in 1 game. All right, we're going to watch it live here on the podcast. The first one was to Cal Raleigh. It goes up. I think immediately it's gone. Jo Adell, just left of the State Farm, jumps probably 2 or 3 feet over the fence, robs it. Again, just an insane robbery. Everybody's thinking about clapping his hands. Cal Raleigh's got to tip his cap. All right, whatever. It's just a home run robbery. Let's move on to the second one. Bo Naylor. I think this is a no-doubter. It's probably 50 feet left. The same exact thing. Jo Adell. Again, it's a 1-0-0-0 game at this time. Jo Adell robs it, keeps the game alive. And I'll talk why this is more important here in a second. And then the third. Oh, 1 second. Let's go here. The third home run robbery was to J.P. Crawford. Again, I think it's a no-doubter out of the stands. Jo Adell leaps over the fence next to the foul pole, goes into the stand, catches the ball. Unbelievable. The Angels ended up winning 1-0 in this game. He robbed 3 home runs. The Mariners would have won this game in a division matchup which might affect playoff spots in 6 months. He saved this game. Unbelievable. That last catch, just cherry on top. 20 cherries on top. Unbelievable. And then we get one of the most iconic pictures I think will go down in the season. I think this, I'll pop it up. I think this will be one of the most iconic pictures of the season. He was the MVP. I've never seen, at the end of the game, they put like the stats up and like the best player, and usually it's offensive unless it's a pitcher or whatever. No, they put Jo Adell, 3 home run robberies. It's unbelievable. Like I said, Fernando Tatis had the most home run robberies last year with 4. Jo Adell did 3 in 1 game. I would argue that this is the best defensive non-pitching performance in MLB history. Think about it. I get there's hardly anything on the line other than it's a rivalry game, but in 6 months, this could actually mean something. If we see the Angels and Mariners have to fight it out, which I don't think we will, I think the Mariners are much better than the Angels, but if we see it close, if they're 1 game behind each other, you got Jo Adell to thank, and arguably an MVP there. I mean, Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know what. It's also kind of luck. I will give him that. It's also kind of luck. You need the balls to land right in those spots for it to be robbed. But it's unbelievable. Is it not the best defensive non-pitching performance in MLB history? I mean, I think it is. I think it has to be, especially winning the game 1-0 because of it. Absolutely unreal. Jo Adell, man, give yourself a day. And now they're tied 5-5 in the 5th inning. Guy at third. Angels. Let's see what Espanol does. Oh, the Angels just lost the challenge. Why is... I don't get... Actually, whatever. I just said a 9 seed should have. 9 spot should have. All right. Espanol. Oh, it's foul. Bases loaded. No outs. 1-2 count. Down 1 challenge. Hurts a little bit. It does hurt a little bit. All right. Let's move on to... Let's move on to March Madness. Now, March Madness is here wrapping up. The women's bracket just wrapped up, actually. The women's bracket, where is it? The women's bracket just wrapped up. UCLA just stomped on South Carolina. Ended up final score being 79-51. The other night, Friday night, I watched UCLA play Texas and UConn play South Carolina. And I figured with how those games went that South Carolina would have won. But, just stomped on. It was done after the first quarter. After the first quarter, UCLA won. At one point, it was like 60-30 UCLA or something like that. But congratulations, UCLA. On the men's bracket, my perfect bracket has officially concluded. I ended up getting 45 out of the 63 correct. Do I wish I could have done better? Obviously. Starting in the Elite 8, it kind of went downhill a little bit. And then 3 of my Final 4 teams didn't make it. And then none of my national championship teams made it. I had Arizona going all the way. Arizona just lost, though, to Michigan. And Illinois just lost to UConn. So UConn will be playing Michigan Monday night. I'm excited. Who do I think will win? UConn playing Michigan. I think that UConn's going to win just because of... do I? I think UConn's going to win. I think that Illinois game was a little personal for them. I think Dan Hurley, I think he has that in him. I think he has the Husky in him. I think he has the dog in him, the Wolverine, whatever you want to call it. I think he has it in him, and I think that they're going to win. I think that UConn takes the win. UConn has to have, like, the most March Madness titles, right? I did, like, a TikTok on it, like, 2 years ago or something. I'm pretty sure UConn was up there for most March Madness titles, but I think that was including women's, which obviously women's has a lot more. But, yeah, I'm excited for this game. At 8:50. It's 8:50 at night on Monday. I don't get why they do that. They do that with the national championship too. Like, what are we doing? Season team stats. I don't know. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I think it's going to be a good, close game. Yeah, I don't know. I do think my final pick is I think UConn will get the win. I think UConn will win. I don't know what the odds are. Who's favored to win the March Madness Natty? Michigan's favored to win minus 320. I don't know. I think UConn has it in them this year. I think the headbutting, it's just all... Dan Hurley, he's got himself a name. He's got himself a name, and he's got to stick up to that name. So my final pick is I think that UConn will end up beating Michigan. Sorry, Mr. Portnoy, but I think that's what's going to happen. We'll see. We'll see Monday night, though. It'll be exciting. All right, let's move on to the Lakers. The Lakers, their title odds just tanked. Atrocious. Their title odds went from like 1 to 20 to like 1 in 400. They lost both their guards. Luka Doncic suffered a grade 2 left hamstring strain last week on April 2nd against OKC, the Thunder, and is out indefinitely for the rest of the season and threatening his availability to start in the playoffs. If the Lakers can't have either guard in the playoffs, they're screwed. It's just a bust season. You got to come back next season healthier. And then if that wasn't bad enough, Austin Reeves... who's just diagnosed with a grade 2 left oblique muscle injury and is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. He's putting his return early. Yeah, it's doubtful he'll be back for the playoffs just because I don't think they'll go very far without these two guys. Again, I was watching SportsCenter earlier this morning. I just saw the odds. I can't find the graphic that SportsCenter had, but it was like the odds of them to win the title just dropped, plummeted, not even close. I feel bad for the Lakers, but I feel like they've won enough. You know what I mean? But I do feel bad for them because this is like out of their control. It's not like they performed horribly or something like that. It's like no, their two best guys. But they got Lonzo Ball. And LeBron James, what's LeBron going to do? I actually want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Is LeBron James going to stay with the Lakers? Is he going to do a farewell tour? Is he going to go back to Cleveland? What's going to happen with Bronny? Is Bronny going to stay in the G League? Is he just going to be like, hey, I'm out, I'm retiring, taking daddy's money? What's going to go on with the James family after this season? I'll be interested to see what happens. I feel like he's going to announce a farewell tour, but he's 41 years old. He's up there. I don't know how much longer he has in him. All right, that is going to do it for the 143rd episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Thank you all for listening. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube for all the visuals, your Amazon Alexa. Follow us wherever you see us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Go to shop@HatTrickSports.com. Get the best merch around, and we will see you guys next week for episode 144.